Welcome to Grit with Wisdom. This is the podcast that delves deep into the inner psyche of mountain bikers from all aspects of our sport in order to discover the tools and the tactics that can help us have more fun out on the trails more often. Our aim here is to help you understand what it takes to push our own personal boundaries in the sport we love from a mental and emotional perspective. Today on the podcast, I get to sit down with Ciaran King, who is an elite downhill mountain biker and also a certified high performance coach. Ciaran's journey has been anything but smooth sailing, facing injuries and confidence hurdles along the way. He's turned those challenges into fuel for his fire now, and these days he's dedicated to sharing this hard-earned wisdom with the next generation of mountain bike racers. With a strong focus on promoting positive mental health in mountain biking, Ciaran not only talks the talk, but also provides actionable tools and advice to help you reach your peak performance on the bike. So I'm super excited to dig into Ciaran's story today and to flesh out some of the practical tools that we can all use to help our mindset in our riding. Ciaran, with no further ado, welcome to the podcast.
Awesome, glad to be here. Sick intro, liked it.
Did I miss anything there? Anything you'd like to add?
That was all good. Liked it.
Fantastic, mate. Well, as people can probably see, we've just been out for some super fun muddy laps at Skyline Bike Park here in Queenstown.
Yeah, that's sick.
Thanks for showing me how you do it, man. It's certainly a good time following you there, getting a little wild.
Yeah, fun.
Awesome. Well, I think a good place to start here would be perhaps to ask you if you could just tell us a little bit about who you are and when bikes first came into your life.
Yeah, cool. So, like Jake said, my name's Ciaran King, and I got into mountain biking when I was 8 years old, purely because for some reason I didn't want to ride a bike when I was younger. But my brothers used to race BMX, so it was in the family. I loved the thought of BMX. I never would actually ride it. But one day I decided, screw it, I'm going to ride my bike. So I learned to ride a bike, and then shortly after we went on holiday to the New Forest in England, and we were basically just cycling around campsites, going on little walking paths, coastal paths, which is basically mountain biking, and absolutely loved it. Me and my brothers just thought it was awesome. And on the way home, my brother Steph, who actually lives in Pemberton, he bought a mountain bike magazine, and on the way home we were just obsessing over it. Thought it was so cool, and then we decided to go mountain biking to a local spot called Cannock Chase, and which is kind of like a cross-country centre. And yeah, I just found it so good. I was on a really bad bike. We're all on really bad bikes, but we just absolutely loved it, and that's kind of how it all started. That's how we got into mountain biking, and then it just progressed from there onwards. Looking at magazines, getting interested by downhill, and then slowly wanted to do more and more of that kind of stuff. And I think I was about 12. I think for some reason my mum decided to let me book a holiday, so I decided let's go to Leger. So I booked a holiday, and that's when we got into downhill, and it was just the coolest holiday ever. Riding Leger Bike Park, going up chairlifts, just all downhill. I hired a Common Cell 24-inch Supreme, which was like the coolest bike ever, and just from there onwards it was sick.
Wow, man, that's such a cool backstory. And what a rad mum letting you pick the holiday.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what she was thinking.
It sounds like a bit of a pivotal moment in your journey that maybe wouldn't have happened if she didn't let you choose a downhill mountain biking holiday.
Yeah, probably not. Definitely be mountain biking still. It might just slowed up the whole process though.
Yeah, totally. And speaking of that process, did you find you were kind of picking up things pretty fast?
No, definitely. I was never naturally very good. Like some kids are amazing straight away. So yeah, we rode cross country for ages and didn't get a small amount downhill, and found it pretty challenging, but didn't really know any better. Just followed my brothers, and I was slower than my brothers, but they were older than me, so it's kind of normal.
Yeah.
And that time was just having fun. But when we went to Leger, my mum booked me a mountain bike skills course.
Nice.
Not course, just a lesson, and that was just. I couldn't believe how much my riding improved. So I couldn't keep up with my brothers. After that lesson, I could keep up with them.
No way.
And I was just, to me at that time, I was just shredded, having a great time.
Yeah, fantastic. So kind of seeing the power of skills coaching from a young age.
Yeah, I had a massive improvement in my riding. And then went home, and then that's when I kind of got into racing.
Okay.
So I was actually riding my brother's Marin Quake downhill bike, which was a massive thing for myself. My first race, I think I basically got last.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, maybe not very good. And I wasn't really riding how I was out in Leger. And yeah, basically from then onwards, just practice and still wasn't very good for a long time, and just slowly got better and better. Had big moments of improvements,
Okay.
and had big crashes, which would take me back, and we just like big improvements again, which kind of kept going at it. And then personally for me, the biggest improvements were when I decided to go out to Whistler, and actually I came out to Queenstown about 6 years ago,
Okay.
and just that bike time and thinking about my riding and thinking about how to get better really helped.
Quite insightful for like a young guy to like come out and have that approach as well. You must have been what, like 18 or early
Yeah.
20s? Yeah.
Well, I've always loved sport and I've always liked getting better at it, and that's the part. Just working
Fantastic.
out, okay, how can I get better at racing and riding my bike?
Yeah.
And I find that that's so fun.
Sticking at it. Awesome. And how did you find that kind of doing your first race and coming last and having that, I guess, that thought you mentioned there, like, oh, I'm not very good. Did that kind of fuel your fire, or did you find it held you back?
No, I think it fueled my fire. I think I had quite a good mindset about it all. I'm pretty sure. Well, of course, I've never raced before. It's kind of acceptable. I
Yeah.
came last, and but I just had that urge. I just want to get better. So I think that's what mostly fueled me. I just wanted to get better.
Fantastic. Yeah, it sounds like a really strong growth mindset from a young age.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's awesome. And I guess that kind of leads into what you're so passionate about and what you're doing for work these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to dive straight into that. We might talk a little bit more about your racing and your backstory in a second. But why don't we start? Tell us about Peak and High Performance and what you're doing there.
Yeah, so Peak and High Performance is my coaching company. So the reason that I started Peak and High Performance was because I personally was struggling with my mindset and my mental game for riding and racing. And about 5 years ago, I knew it was a big problem of mine, so I decided, okay, let's get some help. And I found a high performance coach. He was also a hypnotherapist, and I had 2 sessions with him, and it just blew me away. I couldn't believe how much of an effect it had on my mental well-being, my mindset, day-to-day life, but also my racing and riding. And my first race after those sessions, it was a bit of a disaster because the weather made practice real short. I trapped my thumb in the door for my race run, but what I did was my mental preparation beforehand and the work we had done in the sessions. So when I got to that race run, I'd never felt so good for a race run.
Wow.
And honestly, that moment I was like, this is actually awesome. This is the best I've ever felt for a race run. I'm actually excited to go race and ride my bike. And ended up having pretty good result at that time. And then since then, just carried on more sessions with him, reading books, developing my learning, applying it to my racing, a lot of trial and error, and then decided, okay, let's become a high performance coach myself, because I saw how powerful it was on myself. I wanted to help other riders, because I know so many people are so talented, but they just don't understand how to manage their mindset, their mental game. And if they can have a bit of guidance, they can become incredible riders, incredible athletes, incredible people. And that's kind of why I started it. And that was when I started it, about 2 years ago now. And since then, I've had some awesome clients ranging from beginners to World Cup athletes. So kind of athletes you might know of would be Ethan Craig and Amy Kenyon.
Fantastic.
And it's been so cool working those two, because they're top of their game, and to learn from them and apply it to my coaching to other riders, it's been pretty awesome.
Fantastic, mate. Yeah, such a cool story of like learning about yourself and then also learning how to teach those skills to other people. And we were chatting a little bit on the gondola, weren't we, about how interesting it is kind of figuring it out, each client's particular learning style.
Yeah.
And what kind of gets them going. Yeah. Awesome. So kind of dialing the clock back when you were first kind of having these mental struggles and thinking about, hey, I'd love to find someone who can help me. What were some of the specific things that you were finding most challenging?
With my racing, I just get so nervous. I would get to a race run, I'd be feeling sick, tired, and just not really up for it. I wanted to race, but it was definitely a struggle, and I'd never perform very well. I'd ride a lot better in practice or at home, but when it comes to that race, I'd never either deliver my performance or just crash. And obviously, I put a lot of time into it, so I knew it was a big weakness of mine, so I wanted to improve that. But then also just confidence. I just wouldn't push myself enough. I wouldn't ride hard enough stuff. I didn't have that self-belief, and obviously that kind of affected my day-to-day life as well. So that was what I found so cool about high performance coaching, is that it really benefited my riding, but also I was the most energized, confident, happy person I've ever been since then, and that was like pretty damn cool.
Fantastic. And what were some of the first kind of light bulb moments when you went into your first sessions with the high performance coach?
Yeah, so probably light bulb moments were I can control my mind, my thoughts, my beliefs, that I'm actually in control of my mind, because I think a lot of people just find they wake up unhappy, they're unhappy. But it's actually, you can generate the mindset, the thoughts, the beliefs you actually want. And then what was the other one, which was, well, this is a really good teaching point for a lot of riders, is that my nerves are actually excitement, and to actually use your nerves to help benefit you for your racing and your riding. So, when you get those feelings of nerves, what's actually happening is your nervous system's getting ready to do something cool. And it's just our mindset thinking, oh my God, these are nerves. And you start to fight them, and that's why you feel really lethargic. But if you go, oh, my body's getting ready to do something cool, because you know you're about to go for a race or about to do a big jump. So you go, okay, it's getting ready to do something cool. You can use it and start turning it into excitement. And all of a sudden, if you start applying this to your racing and your riding, you'll notice at that start gate, you're like absolutely buzzing. You're like, my body's getting ready to do something cool. I am ready to go. This is awesome. And you'll feel you're energized, you're buzzed, you're focused. And that was a massive turning point with my racing, because all of a sudden I was at that start gate and I was like, this is sick. Yeah. My body's ready to do something cool. I've practiced all weekend. This isn't something to be nervous about, it's something to be excited about.
Fantastic. Yeah, so changing the meaning behind that feeling.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
So that's something I teach all my clients, and something that's had a massive effect on them. It's cool.
Totally. Yeah, it's really good advice for people listening just to think about. And I'm curious, like, what does hypnotherapy look like when you're seeing a high performance coach specifically for mountain biking? I know there's a lot of like stigma and perhaps ideas of what hypnotherapy looks like.
Yeah, so it was really cool. Yeah. So that was another thing he did with me. So he taught me about meditation and how to the benefits of meditation that it will have on my mind, but also day-to-day life, but also my racing. And so he did some hypnotherapy with me. So he kind of took me through a meditative state, basically like 5 minutes of meditation, and then 5 minutes of kind of visualization. So we discovered a word that really resonates with me of how I want to be on the bike, like a real feeling I have. So for me, that is, I'm flying. When I say I'm flying, I know what that feels like. It's something I always want to have when I go racing. So in the visualization, we're kind of talking about that feeling. I'm imagining it, I'm feeling it, and then that just slowly trains your subconscious. That's like what you want. So when I do go racing, okay, I'm flying. I just know what that feels like, but the feelings I want, how it looks, how it feels, and that's why that first race I had after, I was like, I'm ready.
That's such a cool backstory there. And I'm curious, do you feel like if you had have just tried like that same thing on the trail, it would have had the same effect? Because obviously you were off the trail when you were doing this work, right?
Yes, so it definitely would have had benefits for sure, especially for nerves and excitement part. But in that session, we kind of really dive deep into how I'm as a person and work out all the deep stuff, and that's where the real growth is.
Yeah, you do a lot of work off the bike that has some really significant results on the bike.
Yeah.
So maybe, it'd be cool to talk about for the listeners here, like, what does this high performance mean for you, and what are some of the main pillars or main areas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so high performance to me means about performing to your best ability, and but in all areas of your life. So as you can see, a lot high performers. The reason they're high performers is because they are achieving in all areas of your life. You get these high achievers who might be really good at a job, but they're not achieving in their home life or their health or their family life, and it's just not sustainable. But high performers have managed to learn how to perform highly in all areas, which leads to longevity, happiness, better performance. So that's kind of what I teach. I kind of look at it like your racing as a holistic point of view, look at all areas, and we kind of break that down into 6 sessions. So the first session is on focal points. So we would discover where you're focused, what you're focused on, and what goals you're striving for, and then it kind of goes into what kind of level of control you have over the things in your life about and what skills you have. And then we look into your habits, so the habits that are serving you, the ones that aren't, because there's a lot of people have bad habits which are really having a negative effect on their day-to-day life, their racing and riding. So we work out habits that can actually really help you elevate your performance and happiness.
While you're there, what are some common bad habits you'll see with athletes coming in?
Probably big bad habits just people probably not very aware of is like just negative self-talk. People are so harsh on themselves.
Yeah.
And even myself, I know I'm harsh on myself, and I'm very aware of positive self-talk, and it comes up every now and again. And people may put themselves down so much, and you really should be your best friend. You should be your biggest cheerleader, because if you go riding with a friend and you do something cool and they're like, mate, that was sick, your confidence boosts, and you're like, okay, it's cool. But usually when you do something cool, you usually criticize it, or you don't really acknowledge it. So you've done this really cool thing, and because you haven't acknowledged it, hasn't really happened. You haven't really progressed from it. So by having the new habit of positive self-talk can really, really help with your mindset and riding.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great example. So we're at habits.
Oh yeah, sorry.
I cut in there. Yeah.
Session 1, and then session 2 we look at clarity. So clarity is probably one of the most important sessions, because that really looks at who you are as a person and what's important to you and who you want to be as a person. And that's kind of like the foundation, because if you don't know who you want to be or where you want to go or who you need to be your best self, you're just going to be kind of going around the world and not really being that person. So we help you discover your clarity words, which are kind of 3 words that define your best self, and they will really help guide you to being the person you want to be. And this will have a massive effect on your confidence, on your just on everything basically.
Totally.
Yeah,
if you don't have that kind of direction or that endpoint where you'd like to head, often we'll just kind of wander around and then wonder why we don't get anywhere.
100%. And a really good example is New Year's. Everyone has a lot of clarity on New Year's, because they think, okay, this year I'm going to be my best self, I'm going to be really focused, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to do all this, and then the first few weeks they're awesome. You're living your best life, and we all know how that feels. And the problem is that they stop seeking clarity, they stop thinking about what goals they want to do, how they want to be, and it kind of all just falls apart. They go back to those bad habits and not being their best self. So seeking clarity is an actual skill, it's a habit that you can develop and do every day. That's something that can really help.
And translating that to riding, is that like setting an objective before we go out for a ride, or having a different focus each lap?
Yeah, for sure. So I call it like setting your intention.
Fantastic.
So like before you go riding, I would really encourage you to just think, okay, what's my intention today? Like, how do I want to feel riding my bike? And also, what do I want to achieve? Once you work that out, okay, so how am I going to do it? You're giving yourself that clarity, you have that goal, you have that focus. So when you go riding, like, you won't be riding around aimlessly, you've got this focus. And some people, it sounds quite serious, but it's only serious if you make it serious. So setting intention can be also about having fun. So today's ride, our intention could be, okay, let's just have fun. I don't care about going fast. I don't care about good technique. I just want to have fun. If you set that intention, you will go ride your bike with this mindset of, okay, I'm gonna have fun. So you'll be doing whips and jumps, doing cool lines, be laughing, and you won't be getting caught up in that little stuff and affecting your ride.
Totally. Yeah, and I find, we were chatting about this at the cafe before, the importance of intention. I find for me, if I've got a focus and I've got something I'm thinking of, even if it is as simple as be playful, have fun, that's what's going over and over in my mind as I'm riding, and I'm far less likely to get distracted by thoughts of slippery routes or fear or self-doubt and things like this.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so like being playful on a bike, that's kind of like something which really helps you ride your best. So it kind of brings you back to that process. And like you said, that stops you from thinking about the routes, which is like takes your focus away from your riding, doesn't it? So you end up thinking about that outcome. But you have that intention, okay, I'm going to be playful on a bike. That's something that really brings you to that present moment and really helps you to ride your best. And by setting that intention, will have a massive effect on your riding.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned some clarity words there.
Yeah.
How do you go about finding those for each individual rider?
Oh, all right. Well, we'll do the.
I might skip it around here. If you're going to talk about it later, that's fine.
No, we can do. I wasn't too sure how to do it, but we'll go for it. Okay, cool. So we're going to do. We'll discover your clarity words. So clarity words are 3 words that define your best self when riding your bike. And to do this, we're going to do a little bit of visualization, a bit of breath work, and it's going to really help you discover those clarity words. Sound
Fantastic.
good?
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're listening and you can, close your eyes. If you can't, if you're driving, just keep them open. You can still do the exercise. So yeah, if you just close your eyes now, and now you've removed your visual stimulus off me, I want you to go internally into your mind and just really observe those thoughts and understand that you can react to those thoughts or you can be the silent observer. Really calm your mind, and now I want you to direct your focus to your breath. So I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, and a deep breath out. A deep breath in, and a deep breath out. A deep breath in, and a deep breath out. And now I want you to take your mind back to a time you were riding your best, the best you ever felt on your bike. This might have been at a race, last time you're riding, or at your local track. And I want you to really feel it. How are you riding? How did you feel? Were you energized? Were you confident? Were you daring? Were you joyful? Really feel those emotions. How did you feel when you were riding your bike to your best ability? And when you got that, when you can feel those emotions, I want you to discover your 3 clarity words and pick 3 words that define your best self. What 3 words come to mind?
Yeah, interesting. I've done similar things before, but had different words, so that's really interesting for me. Today, what's popping up, I'm thinking back to a ride, an awesome ride I had here at Skyline last week.
Yeah.
Riding some new trails that really pushed me, with some new people who were really pushing me as well. But in that moment, thinking back to that, I was feeling relaxed yet strong.
Yeah.
Kind of going from being calm to strong when I needed to, and also quite certain, just like really believing in myself and not feeling any of that self-doubt that I sometimes feel. So they'd be the 3: certain, relaxed, and strong.
Certain, relaxed, and strong.
Yeah.
Awesome. So those are 3 words that define your best self when you go riding. So now, go back to that setting intention. When you go riding, before you run, you go, okay, I want to be certain, strong, and relaxed. That is my goal in this run. Because if I am those 3 things, I know I'm going to ride my bike my best. And then this like simplifies your riding massively, and it also gives you a lot of control and confidence because you know you can be those things, and this massively helps when you're racing or maybe doing a really hard feature because it just brings you back to that present moment. Okay, for me to win this race or do my best, all I gotta do is be relaxed, certain, and strong. Sick.
Yeah.
Like, how empowering is that? Because you know, if you are those three things, you can be your best self. You're gonna ride your bike as fast as you can.
Yeah, it's a fantastic process to go through, and I love the simplicity of it. You're not telling me to think about 10 different things or
No.
stop midway through the run and do some breath work or anything like that. 3 words.
Yeah,
That's
and
all I need to do.
they're so easy to remember. So if you're riding in like actual in the zone riding and you're not riding very well, you can be like, okay, be relaxed. You know, just relax, or okay, strong position, or you can be okay, let's be certain. Or if you are riding and you've done a run not riding good, you can seek that clarity. Okay, so how can I be my best self? How can I be my clarity words? Okay, yeah, I am not relaxed. I'm getting stressed out. I'm being negative. Okay, how can I be more relaxed? Okay, do a bit of breath work. Just calm my nervous system. And yeah, it's now a riding intention to be relaxed when I'm riding. Or it could be, oh, I'm not being strong. I'm not riding in that strong position. I'm not being strong mentally. Don't have that confidence. Okay, let's generate those feelings and start being strong on the bike.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I can't wait to use those words next time I'm riding.
Yeah, awesome. And yeah, listeners, honestly, use them. They're so useful. One of my World Cup riders is literally all he's thinking about before his race run, and since he's been doing that, he's been getting some good results. So.
It's so cool to hear, to have that, I guess, that proof there as well, like the proof's in the results.
Yeah.
With racing.
Yeah. So like, I guess that's what's really cool about my coaching is that I honestly apply everything I teach to clients to my own racing, and like since I've been doing coaching myself, my results have just gotten way better. I was an average senior rider, and I turned that into becoming an elite rider, winning races, and I'm not at the top of an elite rider, but you know, I'm slowly getting there, working on it, and I've had some hard times, but you know, luckily all the work I'm doing is getting better and better. And yeah, now having athletes who I work with to see them apply everything I'm coaching them and seeing it work, it's pretty awesome.
Mate, that's fantastic. And I think we got up to session 3 there, didn't we, with the certainty? What are the other couple of sessions?
Oh yeah. So session 3 is energy. So we look at how energized you feel, what your energy levels, because to be a high performer takes a lot of energy. Like if you want to go achieve your goals or you want to be just your best self, it takes a lot of energy. So it's understanding that you know, your energy, that you can generate the energy you want. You know, it's like a power plant. You don't just have energy, you generate it. And to have that understanding is like, okay, I'm feeling a bit down today, not very energized. A lot of people go, okay, I'm just not having a good day. But that's not the case. You go, okay, let's do some good habits. Let's generate the energy that I want. And you can go and start being your best self again. And that does sound like a lot of effort, but if you think about it, being your best self feels pretty damn good. So it's definitely worth it. But we also look into, the things that are taking energy away from you, negative emotions, because I see that has a big effect on your energy levels. But also having positive emotions, because that lifts us up loads. So that's kind of session 3. And then session 4 is looking at courage, so how to be your most courageous self, to have that self-belief in yourself, to go ride scary stuff, to sit on that start line and believe that you can go and do it. So we look at that and understanding that courage, it's a skill. You can demonstrate courage, you can build up being more courageous. And so that's session 4.
Awesome.
Session 5 is mindset. So it really looks into your thoughts, your beliefs, the ones that are pushing you forward, the ones that are holding you back. And it's a really important session because we tell ourselves stories all the time that really hold us back, and a lot of the time they're not even true. They're just these stories we've made up and these negative beliefs. So it's about acknowledging them and changing them to beliefs that actually are helpful to you. So that's session 5, and then session 6 is performance. So we look at how to basically look at all the sessions as one and apply everything we've talked about, all the things you discovered, to applying it to your racing, to your riding, to your day-to-day life, so you can perform consistently and be your best self.
It sounds like a great curriculum that you've fleshed out there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And pretty cool. I know we're chatting a little bit about this on the gondola, but there's perhaps not a lot of resources already out there for high performance in mountain biking specifically. So you've got out and got yourself a high performance certification as a coach, but then you've had to use your own experiences and your experiences with athletes to kind of make that mountain biking specific, right?
Yeah. So my high performance training, it's all about high performing with athletes, with business people, with day-to-day normal people as well, and they all have these things in common, and the sessions are kind of built around all of those, and I've applied that learning, that research, the sessions to mountain biking. So rather than having 12 sessions, we broke it down into 6 sessions, so it's much more pliable, and it's only really like the World Cup riders who get the 12 sessions, because that's when we go into the real deep stuff.
Awesome. Yeah.
But at the moment, the advanced mountain bike course is just the 6 sessions.
That's great. And are you giving your students kind of homework on the trails to do in between, or specific exercises?
Yeah, everyone gets homework.
Yeah.
So we actually get worksheets. So you get your session, and then I send you an email summary so you can carry on that learning, recap. But yeah, you get worksheets so you can carry on your learning. And I love to set people challenges. So especially with habits, people are like, oh yeah, I'd love to start meditating. I'm like, cool, start doing it then.
Yeah.
I challenge you for 30 days to meditate every day. And you see their faces like, oh, okay. But really do it. And I hold them accountable to it. And then 30 days later, they're doing meditating and they've got all these benefits from it, they're feeling the best they have. And yeah, it's pretty cool.
Mate, that's awesome. Yeah, I bet having that accountability is just so helpful, because we've all got goals that we say we'd like to do, but actually getting them done and sticking to it is a whole nother thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And I really want to, with my clients, I really want to help them. So, when I have a session, I really go into it. So I know exactly what your goals are, I know what your clarity words are. So we come to a session, I'm like, oh yeah, what about this thing? And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Fantastic.
Get back to it.
Yeah. Hello everyone, and thanks for listening. If you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to give it a like, give it a subscribe. And if you'd like to know more about my journey in mountain biking and my background as a mountain bike coach, check out episode number 29, where I dive a little bit deeper into that. Now let's get right back to the podcast. You mentioned before courage in one of your sessions, and it kind of sparked a question in my mind. And a lot of the mountain bikers I come across that I talk to, we're dealing with perhaps lack of confidence, feeling nervous, feeling fearful when we're riding. So when it comes to perhaps building up some more courage, where do we start?
I guess that kind of goes back to the core principle, like seeking clarity. So understanding that the rider you want to be and the person you want to be. And a lot of people, they wouldn't say, I want to be a nervous person. They often like, I want to be a courageous person. And having that belief and understanding, okay, that's who I want to be, okay, let's go and be that person. So when you come to something that is scary, your brain obviously wants to protect you all the time, so it goes into this protective zone, emotional thinking. It goes, okay, don't want to do that, I want to stay safe. Because when you have a strong belief about the person you actually want to be, you can override it. Okay, actually, at my best, I am someone who faces challenges. I am someone who rides steep sections or rides big jumps. And then you have like this belief behind it, and then that will really help you tackle those fearful situations and help manage them.
Awesome. So, yeah, a lot of work on self-belief
Hmm.
and putting like that strong foundation down before we go and try and build confidence. Is
Yeah,
that what
yeah,
you're saying there?
yeah, definitely. And uh, like you said, self-belief, that is massively linked to self-talk.
Mm.
Like I said earlier, a lot of people have negative self-talk or
Yeah.
tell themselves stories which aren't actually true, and these negative beliefs. So, you might have someone say, "Oh, I'm not good at drops,"
Mm.
or and they keep telling themselves this. And we spoke about it before, like if you just keep telling yourself that, you're not going to be good at drops, and you're not going to have the confidence to think you can get better. So it's about changing that belief to think, okay, I'm going to get better at drops, or or understanding that every time you come up to a drop, it's a new opportunity, and you can grow, you can get better.
Yeah.
And to not let those past experiences hold you back.
I haven't done this drop yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is,
Not as good as I'd like to be at drops yet.
yes.
Yeah.
So that's something I love to
Okay.
tell people is apply yet to everything.
Awesome. So yeah, if we want to build confidence, perhaps going back to what are my thoughts, what's my language like, and perhaps changing some of those to start with to start building that self-belief.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, being really mindful of your own thoughts. Yes, having that mental awareness is really important, because you'd be going up to a drop and you'd be telling yourself these things, and you're not very aware of how much of an effect it is having on you.
Yeah.
And once you become aware of those mental beliefs, you can start breaking them down and finding out that they're not actually true, and replacing them with thoughts that actually are going to help you.
Yeah.
So
Fantastic.
a good little framework is called RWID, which is relative weight of importance and duration.
Okay.
So basically, the more importance, the more time we put attention to a thought, the more real it becomes. So if you looking at a technical section and you start to look at a route, and you go, "Oh my god, I'm going to slip out on that route." You either have a choice to go, "Actually, that's not true," or you have a choice to go, "Oh my god, that's going to happen." You start thinking about it, and then all of a sudden, you've built up this belief that you're going to slip on that route.
Mm-hmm.
Focus goes to it. You go ride it, and because you're focused on it and you believe you're going to slip on that route, it happens.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah, no, it's so easy, because remember, our brains are designed to protect us. So yeah, then another way to help with confidence and being more courageous could be, we spoke about it before, and I think pretty sure you coach a lot of your clients of this, is breath work.
Yeah.
It's understanding that best way to calm your nervous system is with breath work, and it's simple as just taking one deep breath. It's pretty hard to be stressed and nervous when you're breathing.
Totally. Yeah. I do use that tool a lot myself as well, and I find even just the point of like taking your focus off the route or off whatever it is that's distracting you,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking consciously about breathing can be great as well.
Yeah, and that brings you back to that present moment, into your riding, away from what might happen in the
Yeah,
future.
I find that's always like a first point of call for me, for the
Mm.
clients I'm working with. It's like get the breathing back under control, calm the nervous system, and then it's like, right, well, what was my plan? What was I trying to do before this ride went south?
Yeah, that's it.
And it's a great way to refocus.
Yeah, because your emotional brain's going crazy, and you just need to take that deep breath, calm it, and let your logical human brain start thinking again.
Fantastic, mate. And for you and the clients you're working with, how important is the post-ride reflection process?
Yeah, so important. So, like I spoke earlier about setting intention, you also need to reflect, because you've just been riding and you've just learnt loads of things. So it's about reflecting and working out, okay, what did I do well? Okay, cool. I rode corners really well today. Sick. What didn't go quite so well today? Okay, yeah, my route sections weren't so well. Didn't go so well. What did I learn? Okay, I need to set up better for route sections or look ahead. So you're just learning from your experiences rather than just going riding and just finishing up at that. When you reflect, you learn, you grow, and you'll start to see, if you become this, makes this a habit, you'll start to see your riding starts progressing more and more. And yeah, with this, a lot of people do reflect, but it's always in a negative manner. Think
Yeah.
about all the things that have gone wrong.
I find that as well. So often, myself and riders will ignore all the good things we did in a ride.
Yeah.
And there might be hundreds of them, and we'll focus on just like the one bad thing or the
Yeah.
one corner we messed up.
Yeah. So
Crazy, isn't it?
yeah, a really good high performance habit what I love to teach is to focus on your positives first and then your negatives. Because, like you said, you do a run, you made one mistake, and all of a sudden it's like the worst run ever. But you're totally forgetting all the things you did well. And often when we get to a run, just finish a run, you start thinking negatively, and we're in that emotional state. Like, oh my God, did that corner rubbish. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm suck at corners. And then go next run, it's less confidence in corners. So when you focus on those positives first, you might realize, actually, I did 10 other corners really well. Okay, cool. I mean, when you address that corner you did negatively, badly, you have this confidence, this belief, actually, I did 10 corners well before, I'm pretty sure I can work this one out.
Yeah.
So next run, I can do it.
So it's not necessarily in like what you're doing. You are allowed to think about the things that you did wrong or the things you'd like to get better at, but it sounds like it's how you go about reflecting on it. So rather than like, I suck at corner, and it's like, hey, I messed up that corner, how can I do it better next time?
Yeah. So the reason I go positives first, because it makes it a bit less emotional, you can think about it a bit more logically, and it puts you in a better mindset as well. So you focus on the good things you've done well, puts you in a bit more confidence, a bit more reassured, and then you can address those negatives, and you can, rather than react to them emotionally and not very well, you can apply that growth mindset, like, okay, cool, I'm not good at that corner, how can I get better?
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
I find it really good as well. It's a really good challenge for anyone listening. Next time you're reflecting on a ride, try and think of 3 things that went well first before you allow yourself to think of whatever might not have gone as well.
No, honestly, that's such a good challenge. It is hard. Like,
it almost breaks the habit of automatically going to like, I messed up that drop, I messed up that corner.
Yeah, like,
and instead you do the habit of like, well, these 3 things were pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll get better at this.
Yeah, so apply that to your riding and apply it to your day-to-day life. You know, if you get home from work and your partner, friend or family member goes, how was work? Usually you go, it was rubbish, this happened. I encourage you to go, yeah, I had a really good chat with my boss today, or sold this thing today. Do those first, and then we still got to get those negatives off our mind. So you express them, but start focusing on those positives first, and you'll start to see your mindset starts improving because you start seeing things in more of a positive outlook. And
yeah, I love that, mate. Really, really cool stuff. It's so cool just seeing all the interconnections between like life outside of biking, but also it's exciting when we start thinking about how that can improve our performance on the bike.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. You've got lots of racing experience here, had some really good races, had some perhaps races that didn't go as well as planned. But I'm curious, like, how does your mindset change when you go into that race environment versus just like riding for fun like we were today?
How's my mindset change?
Or is there like things you're doing different before you perhaps get to the trails those days, or is your intention, is it different? Perhaps it's not different at all.
No, I try to make it pretty similar. Like I spoke about earlier, I always set my intention for my run. I always think about my clarity words. So today's ride, when I put my goggles on, I'm thinking about my clarity words. That's a trigger for me. Every time I put my goggles on, clarity words. And also, each run, set my intention. I guess just with racing, I'm even more intentional with this kind of stuff. I'm really really think about it, and put a bit more time to it, and just focused in general, really, like really preparing my body, my mind to go ride my bike fast and get into that mindset, and just putting a bit more time to it, because it's hard when you go out riding for fun to prioritize that time. So I just have habits which I can do nice and quickly, like the clarity words, and little things like I have a little like riding journal before, write my intentions, stuff like that down, which I also do for racing. So just having kind of things in place which are very similar, but when it comes to racing, I put a bit more time into it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really cool to hear that you're practicing these habits on the day-to-day as well.
Yeah,
it makes perfect sense that if you want to use those tools on race day, that you should be practicing them in your regular riding, just like we do with the physical skills, the technical skills?
Yeah, no, definitely. Like,
Yeah.
you should definitely practice it when you go riding.
Mm.
But what's also cool about setting your intention or clarity words is that you can apply that day-to-day life. So before this session, this podcast, okay, how can I be my best self right now? Okay, I need to be confident. I need to be present. I need to be, joyful as well. And that's my intention. And the more I do that, when I come to those stressful situations like racing, I have the skill, I have the knowledge, I have the experience to apply that to my racing.
Fantastic. Speaking of stressful situations, races I know can be incredibly stressful, and sometimes I find like the vibe there to be like this like kind of nervous, tense energy. Do you have any tips for people listening for perhaps not taking on board other people's energy or certain environments' energy that may not be helping their performance?
Simple question. Ask yourself, does this help me? Does this serve me right now? So we might be at a race and you might be complaining about a line or just saying how nervous you are. And I'm not saying ignore you, because that's just not the person I would like to be. So I still listen to you, but I have that awareness, like what you say does not reflect how I feel. Just having that mental awareness, and it is quite hard to do, because if you're saying you're nervous about a corner, it's very easy for me to get nervous. So just having an understanding, okay, what Jake's saying, that does not help me in any way, does not serve me. I'm in charge of my own thoughts. So let's keep it that way.
I like that. So yeah, like Jake's nervous about the corner, but how do I feel about it? And perhaps you're fine. Yeah.
And also understanding that people's energy, people's mood is contagious. So be very aware of that. Try not to surround yourself with negative people. Try and surround yourself with positive people who are similar to you. But obviously that's not always the case. So it's about being that person, being that influential person on them. So if they're being negative, okay, it's be your best energized, positive self. Okay, like don't let them define who you are. You are who you are, and that's why seeking clarity is so important, because you have a real understanding of who you are, and you're not allowing other people to affect that.
Yeah, I like that. You said there, like, energy is contagious. So it's like, it doesn't have to go downhill. You could be the vibrant, excited person that perhaps gives a little bit of that energy to the other people at the race.
Just having that mindfulness, that mental awareness, understanding how you're feeling, what thoughts you're having. Okay, no, I want to generate the ones I want. Yeah.
Awesome, mate. You mentioned something there that I'd love to dig into. You were saying when you put your goggles on this morning, that was your trigger.
Yeah.
Quite often the word trigger is used in like a negative concept of like, oh, that really triggered me.
I guess
what Ciaran said really triggered me, but how do you use triggers in a positive way?
So way I think of a trigger is something that triggers my mind to think in a certain way. So for me, put my goggles on triggers me to think about my clarity words, about how I want to feel and ride on my bike. So a lot of people may like that one because it's quite a cool one to do, it's like in that zone. But for like an enduro rider, it could be, or any other rider, like when you clip into your bike, when you get your hands on your handlebar, or when you put your seat post up or down. So having these triggers that triggers you think in a certain way. So enduro rider, do a run. As soon as that seat post goes up, okay, trigger is to think about their run and how they can improve and what went well, that kind of stuff.
Great. So how do we, if I decide like I'm gonna use scratching my chin as my trigger, how do I go about setting that in place and starting that process?
Just being aware of it, I guess.
Okay.
Setting that intention. Okay, this is going to be my trigger to think in a certain way. And it just takes practice and being aware. So each day, like we spoke about, reflecting. After you're riding, okay, how was my trigger? Touch my chin. Oh yeah, I needed it on two or three runs. Okay, how can I prove that? Okay, set that intention when I'm in the gondola or in the uplift or just before I go riding. Practice my trigger. and then slowly it becomes a habit and you start implementing it more and more. So like with my goggles, obviously there are sometimes I do forget, but because it's something I do practice, it's becoming more and more natural. It's just something I do.
Yeah, and I like that one. That's a good one that like we realize pretty quickly if we haven't put our goggles on, especially on a day like today.
Yeah.
So that's something that we're already doing over and over and over again
Mm.
within a ride. And same with the dropper remote, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, perhaps picking a trigger that is a movement or a touch that you're already doing. It sounds like a better idea than perhaps my one that I just made up then. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just something that you will always do because it helps you focus on that process. So when things are chaotic, say at a race, where all of a sudden it's being moved forward or something, you can cause you to react negatively and all of a sudden go into a bit of a bad mindset. But when as soon as you got to put those goggles on, triggers you to think, okay, clarity words. How do I want to be? You're like, oh yeah, it's a reset. Be the person I want to be. And yeah, I always like to use this because it just helps with everyone's day-to-day life. Is when you get home tonight or tomorrow or whatever, when you go into that house, your front door is a trigger to think of yourself as like, okay, how do I want to be as a partner, as a friend, family member in my next situation with them? So you see that trigger, okay, how do I want to be? You might be, okay, I want to be really joyful, I want to be loving, I want to be really present. And you go into that household being those things, and you'll have a way better connection with your friend, your family, partner. And it's about, once again, being intentional.
Yeah, I like that. So practicing that the skill of intention off the bike in little areas of our life, so that when we go and ride our bike or we turn up on race day, we're better at that.
Yeah. Another one, gym door. Attention, how do I want to train today? Oh yeah, I want to be focused. I want to train hard. I want to put a lot of effort in. Cool. Let's go do those things.
Yeah, I guess like anything, it's not necessarily about what we do, it's like how we do it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, look, I wanted to talk really quickly here about crashes, and we're not going to dwell too much on the subject. We'll keep it positive. But I know you've got significant experience with perhaps having some bad crashes, dealing with concussion, stuff like this. Have you got any tips for people who perhaps have had a bit of a setback in their riding and they are struggling to get back on the horse?
Yeah, so I've had quite a few bad concussions, which sucks. But yeah, luckily it's given me a lot of opportunity to learn and grow in that area. And I think the biggest thing is to accept where you are. You've had this big crash, and you always want to compare to how you used to be, and this often puts you in a bit of a negative mindset because you're like, oh my god, I'm so unfit now, or I'm so slow, and it's just like a struggle, and it's quite a negative experience, and you have to beat yourself up, which can help affect your mental health and progress. So it's about, think about it logically. Okay, I've had this big crash, of course I'm not going to be as fast, that's where I want to go. Let's look at where I am right now. Okay, I can ride this speed at the moment. Okay, cool. Anything above that is progress. Okay, let's just start focusing on progress, not about exactly where I want to go. It's great to have that as a focus because that kind of motivates you, but to really focus on that process, and to every time you improve, that's awesome. It doesn't matter if you just improved a tiny bit. Any little wins, celebrate them.
Yeah, mate, that's great advice. I know so often, we'll have a crash, we'll want to just instantly be back where we were before that crash, performing that, being that fast, being that confident. But I think, it's one of the easiest things to say, but hardest things to do as a rider is just accept that, like, I'm not there right now. I'm here. But once we do accept that we're here, we can start building up again, just like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. You're not fighting it as much.
Yeah, fantastic. Mate, thank you. This has been such a great conversation.
Awesome.
And it's so cool kind of, hearing some of the subtleties of what you're teaching and what you've learned and comparing them to what I've been learning myself. I know we've talked about all kinds of different things, but if you could give listeners just like one thing to go away and focus on, perhaps on their next ride, what would it be?
Next ride? Yeah, I guess setting that intention. It makes your riding so much more intentional. So it could be, okay, this ride, I want to feel confident. Okay, be confident, or might be, okay, I want to work on my braking. That is your intention, to work on your braking. Or, okay, I just want to have fun. Go and have fun. Do things that bring you happiness. Have fun. So setting that intention, and then also reflecting on your wins, what went well, but then also what went wrong, but applying that growth mindset and learning from it and growing from it. And you'll just start to see your riding, it just, you get a little bit better, and because you've reflected and learned, you get to that next level, and all of a sudden, okay, you can go to the next one. But when you don't acknowledge it, celebrate it, it's more of a gentle progression.
Yeah, we don't notice the wins as much, do we?
Yeah, and it feels good. Like,
Totally.
how nice does it feel? Like, oh, I rode sick today. Like, acknowledging that makes yourself proud, makes you happier, and then it brings that confidence. The next time you go riding, last time I rode real well. Okay, cool. Let's see if I can do it better today.
Yeah, it's great advice, and so simple, so actionable. So everyone listening, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Fantastic, man. Before we wrap up here, is there any industry partners that you wanted to mention?
Yes, so also I get the support for my racing, which is awesome, and the main sponsor I have is Works UK, which is, they have the Works Hydro Shot, and they which is a battery powered jet wash, which is honestly awesome. Every time I finish riding my bike, get out my van, wash my bike, it's done in a few minutes. It's real light, portable, doesn't use much water. Yeah, it's like honestly like a go-to thing to get. And then get a bit of support from Pivot back at home in the UK, which is awesome. Local bike shop called Southwark. So if you're in Devon, which you might not be, but if you are, go check them out. And yeah, just a few other ones, but that's the main ones.
Fantastic, mate. Some good partners on board there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sitting down for a chat here. Thanks for the laps earlier.
Oh, thank you so much. I've enjoyed it.
Awesome, dude. See you on the trails. What's up, guys? Just one more thing before you hit the trails. If you enjoyed this podcast, please be sure to subscribe, and don't be a stranger. I'd love to hear from you about any topics or any particular episodes that you enjoyed, and even about any guests that you'd like to hear me have on the show in the future. You can find me on Instagram at the_mind_mountain. This podcast, mountain biking, and mindset are all things that are very close to my heart, so I feel super grateful to be able to share these conversations with you. So much love to you all for taking the time to listen. I'll see you next time.